All right, this video is how to do a 2-point perspective treehouse. The first thing you need to start with is a horizon line with 2 vanishing points. I am going to do my treehouse above the horizon line. So I'm going to leave a little bit of space underneath the treehouse to where I can draw in like a tree trunk so you guys can see all that business, okay? Actually I'm going to zoom you in a little bit closer here so that you can see in greater detail. Some things are going to get pretty detailed. Okay, so the first thing you do if you're drawing a box in 2-point perspective is start with a vertical line. Since mine is going to be above the horizon line, I'm going to start with that line above my horizon line, okay? What that means if they're above, it means you see the bottom of the treehouse. If it's right on, you just see the 2 sides, and if it's below, you see a little bit of the top as well, okay? All right, now I'm going to take the top and bottom of that line. I'm going to connect them both to my left vanishing point and both to my right vanishing point. You guys will need to use a ruler and a pencil, obviously, for this. I am just going to use my vector tool because that's faster. Feel free, of course, to pause this video if you need to. Okay, so there we go. In order to establish the edges of my treehouse, I'm going to put in vertical lines so I can decide how wide I want to make my treehouse or how narrow. Make sure your verticals are actually vertical. They should be running parallel to that center line. A lot of people kind of have them bow outward like that, so make sure they're vertical. Okay, on the bottom we are going to crisscross applesauce, which means we're going to take these 2 corners and we're going to go to opposite vanishing points, okay? So since this guy's on the left, he's going to go to the right. Since this guy's on the right, he's going to go to the left. Okay, so I'm going to take this guy, connect him to my right vanishing point. Take this little guy, connect him to the left. All right? And then you can see the bottom of the treehouse is created there. I'm going to go in with black and I'm going to outline all of these shapes. Okay, so I'm going to go in and just start outlining the ones that should stay. Any that don't get outlined are basically excess that can be erased, okay? I would not recommend erasing your horizon line. At this point, we will sort of need the horizon line to draw in. Oops, how did I do that? That looks kind of messy, but you get the hint. Anyway, but I would recommend leaving in your horizon line so that later on when we go to decide on windows and doors and that, we know which corner to use. Also, when we do our ladder, we're going to draw in a treehouse and we're going to do a ladder, and that'll help us on the ladder too, okay? Okay, guys, so the next thing we're going to do from here is we are going to draw in the roof of the treehouse. In order to establish the tip-top point of the roof, you first need to establish your perspective center on this side, okay? The roof, or the tip of the roof, is going to, of course, be over the center of the building. In perspective, the one side of the building is going to look larger, even though it's in the middle, okay? So it's kind of confusing, but the middle is off center. So in order to establish your middle, you're going to go in and you're going to do an X from the top to the bottom on the left side of your building. So I'm just matching up opposite corners. Then I'm going to do a vertical line that comes straight up out of there. Again, make sure your vertical is actually vertical. Mine's a little slanted, but it's pretty close. Okay. Now, you're going to decide how tall you want your treehouse, or your roof to go, and you're going to do a little dot on there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect down to this corner and that corner, okay? So all I have to do now is just take my ruler, connect this line to this line, and that one to there, and I have the peak of my roof, okay? Now, in order to establish whether or not you need to do the other side, some of you are going to have really short roof. Like, let's say my rooftop was here, and I lined it up with my right vanishing point. Well, I'd be drawing a line through the side of my building, so I don't need to draw a line, okay? As it is, my roof is a little bit taller, so when I draw this line, it is not going to be inside my building. It's going to be outside my building. So I'm going to draw it in. Even if it's a little space like mine is, you're still going to draw it in, okay? In order to close off your roof at the right location, you just need to do a parallel to this diagonal. So you see this diagonal line on the side of your roof. So that guy's going to get a parallel line out here. And of course, it's got to be a little bit smaller, okay? So I'm going to line my ruler up with this guy, try and get what that line looks like. Move my ruler out here. And then I'm going to connect, okay? Ooh, kind of connect. All right, there we go. And then I would erase the excess. Let me go ahead and trace over some of this in black so you can see the lines that should stay. Okay, so I'm going to outline this line of my roof right here. This line of the roof right here stays. This line that goes all the way down over to here. And then that's the point where it connects to that outside corner, okay? And that's the parallel line to this line right here. Kind of makes sense? Hopefully it does. That line, honestly, I could redraw that in. That's a little bit messy right there. Let me draw that one in again. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is draw doors and windows, and then we're gonna make them three-dimensional, okay? I'm gonna use my ruler this time instead of my vector tool, and I'm just gonna draw on the top of my door. If a door is on the left, the top is gonna go down to the left vanishing point. If your door is on the right, the top of it's gonna go down to the right, okay? So this guy's gonna go down to the left vanishing point. I'm only making that line as wide as I want my door. So instead of continuing it all the way down to the left and having a bunch of excess I have to erase, I'm just gonna draw it in where I want it, okay? Now at the end here, I'm gonna use my ruler, of course. Actually, I'm just gonna use my vector tool. You guys can use your ruler to draw in the vertical sides of my door. So there is my door, all right? Whenever you wanna start making a door three-dimensional, meaning that you can sort of see inside it, like you can see a door jamb in there as if you could walk into it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our opposite vanishing point, okay? To know which corner you need to start with, we first need to establish the fact that we are above the horizon line and to the left of our center line. So we're gonna go with this top left corner right there, okay? Let's say we were doing a treehouse that was below the horizon line. Then we would do a bottom corner. If we were doing the left side of the building, we do the bottom left corner, okay? If it's up here in this quadrant, above the horizon line to the right, we do the top right, okay? You kind of get it? Okay, what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna take this left corner and I'm gonna match it up to that right vanishing point over there, okay? If for some reason your rulers are not long enough, then you guys can always kind of like just eyeball it, kind of like, you know, like let's say my ruler was like this, I'd kind of point it in that direction. You might even be able to see a couple other lines that you've erased and kind of line up with those guys. Wherever that line ends, I'm gonna throw down a vertical. If you want it to be a little bit narrower on the door jamb, you could always move it over and erase a little excess there, okay? So I've just created a corner between that right line, going to my right vanishing point, and this vertical. And from that corner, I'm gonna come from my left vanishing point and just close it off at the end of the doorway, okay? So I'm gonna go here and just close that guy off there. All right, so then I have my three-dimensional doorway. You guys could like shade in this area to make it look like it's sort of like a deep cavity within the treehouse. You could add like a curtain in there, whatever you want to add. I'm going to do a window on this side. The window is very similar to the door. The top and bottom of my window, since I'm going to be working on my right-hand side, are going to go to the right vanishing point. So I'm going to take the top of my window, line it up with that right vanishing point. And then I'm gonna do the bottom of my window, same deal. And then all I've got to do is connect them with vertical lines, okay? I'm making a really big window on this side, but you guys don't necessarily need to. You could have a fairly small window. You guys might end up with, you know what, let me redo that line. You might end up with some excess that has to be erased, okay? Actually, mine kind of line up well, but yeah, you might end up with a little extra of that. So basically the top and bottom go to the right, the sides are verticals. Make sure those are perfect verticals, okay? And again, my verticals aren't all that perfect, but it's kind of hard with this big clunky pen. Okay, now we're going to make that window three-dimensional. Remember that you have to go to your opposite vanishing point, and in order to establish the corner that you're starting from, you're gonna look at your horizon line. We're definitely above the horizon line. We're to the right of the center line. So I'm gonna use that top right corner right there, okay? And then I'm gonna take my ruler, line it up with my opposite vanishing point. So I'm gonna line up to the left vanishing point, like so. I'm gonna draw in a little baby line like that. Okay, where that ends, I'm gonna go down with a vertical to the bottom of the window. And then with that new corner I've just created, I'm gonna come from my right vanishing point and close it off there. So then I have a three-dimensional door and a three-dimensional window. I'm gonna finish with like the tree, the ladder, the textures on the next video, okay?